Hi there, viewers and gamers alike out there, and welcome to a live stream special of my take on NCAA March Madness Week 1. And you'll only hear me on this exclusively only on Leo's Let's Plays Alliance. So, yes, and and if you're wondering, for the obvious question, why haven't you put in videos of Shantae and the Seven Sirens, Leo? Well, the reason why is, I was watching NCAA March Madness. That began in the first week, starting from Tuesday, from the first four on that double header on True TV, and then the other doubleheader that was on Wednesday, the first four on Tuesday and the first four on Wednesday. So doubleheaders on True TV back in Dayton, Ohio. And then beginning from the first round is the round of 64 teams. And it was wild. It was madness. It was completely deafening, and it was just off the rocker, and it was completely insane when it comes to the first and second round. And you get the idea from what had just happened from the first and second round, and it literally just taken everything on storm. And it was just maddening. It was like, whoa, yeah. It's a big whoa moment for anybody. But I wouldn't give the benefit of the doubt, but I would not. But it was wild, and yes, it was just absolutely amazing, and you cannot believe what we just witnessed. And there are some upset victory moments and a climatic finish, a big upset on the final seconds, and something to pull off big time from college men's basketball, including the women. And don't forget the so-called women of the highlights of the first and the second round. And it was just absolutely unbelievable. And you cannot get enough madness when it comes to this. It was just whoa. So I will give you all the benefit of the doubt, or not the benefit of the doubt, one way or another, to make it count the most and see what we have in mind. And so for that, you want to know, what are the scores, Leo? I mean, don't keep us in suspense. All right. Just hold on to your pants or hold on to your shorts or whatever. But we're going to start off with the first four. And that was on True TV, exclusive only from Turner Sports Networks, TNT Sports, and partnering up with CBS Sports Networks as well. And it was pretty awesome. So the first four from the first week, week one, began for 6 straight days, or should I say 7 days, because you got the college women's basketball that's happening right now for the second round on the networks of ESPN and ABC. So the score was too close to call on the first four. Began in Tuesday. It was UMBC and Howard, UMBC Retrievers and the Howard Bison. And I don't know where the UMBC Retrievers are from, because I have no idea. I kind of, but I do have a pretty good clue of what is going on from the UMBC Retrievers. A golden retriever is the mascot of a golden retriever dog, and the bison is the bison of a mascot. And they're from the first four, and it was insane. It was absolutely incredibly insane. And you get the idea that this is no ordinary team that comes into from the first four. UMBC and Howard. And more milk for your money. No, not more milk for your money. No. More milk for your team. There was the condensed game and the recap. And on the final seconds, the Retrievers are coming this close, but the Bison from Howard University just hold them off long enough to win their first four as a number 16 seeded team. So UMBC 83, Howard 16. And they move into the first round from the first four, and then the next in the first four from the doubleheader from the that was from the Midwest region, and now in the West region, and the West region is Texas and North Carolina State. Wolfpack, both teams are number 11. Whoever wins that game has earned the right as the number 11 seeded team to go to the West region. And Texas and North Carolina State were battling each other tooth and nail, back to back, point to point, 3-3. It was a battle on defense more than on offense, but so far it was all about the defense. Why? Because sometimes defense usually wins championships, and I'll get and there's no doubt in my mind when it comes to defense that wins championships. You get the idea that it just happened, and there you go. Oh my! That is just insane to the membrane. Insane to the membrane from the first round to the second round. And now we go into that first four. So yeah, the first four is just, there were so many bunch of games. So many games. As you can see that one of the teams that called a timeout, Howard, or UMBC calling a timeout, and when we see Howard, UMBC shot a three-pointer, and then all of a sudden, on the first four, and then you see Howard shooting for two, they got the 2-point, and then gets it to go on the final seconds for UMBC tries to hurry within 10 seconds left, and then trying to make the layup, makes the layup within 7.5 seconds. They would have called a timeout, but I don't know why. And running, going from coast to coast and doing a layup for 2 points, and then there's a foul within 5.5 seconds left on the game clock. And you imagine it was just absolutely insanity. 5.5 seconds, missed the first free throw from one plus the bonus. UMBC has to win it all, shoot for three, but can't go in the basket. Missed it off the glass. UMBC lose to Howard 83-86. Mamma mia, wow. That was insane to the membrane. It was absolutely insane. Yeah, that was insane, and it was nuts. And now, you think that was nuts? Check out with Texas and North Carolina. in which they had their game, the Texas Longhorns and the North Carolina State Wolfpack, a team from the Southeastern Conference versus a team from the Atlantic Coast Conference, battling each other out of who's going to win, who is going to come back to the ipscray, to the insane, to the membrane, if you get my idea. But you know what? I'm just not trying to speak in riddles, but I will save you the juicy parts. Okay, Texas was up by 2 points, and 64-62. The Wolfpack of North Carolina State called a timeout with about 1 minute 5 seconds left on the game in the second half. So we noticed the Wolfpack shot a three-pointer, and there we have it. So down by 2, the Longhorns shooting for 2, good from the foul line in the paint. The Longhorns up by 4 points, and what a move from that shot with only around 30 seconds left. The Wolfpack dribbling, trying to shoot a 3, hits the 3, and now it's 66-65. Holy Cleveland on fire! Yeah, and down to the final seconds. Texas going to shoot for 2. It's good with 1 second left. 1 second left for Texas. 1 second left for the Wolfpack of North Carolina State. They call their last and final timeout with 1 second left. Mamma mia, dropping the long 2 from long range will not be denied. Oh, wow. It's like, this game, I'm going to put this game away. And there's the long pass, the Wolfpack trying to shoot, but it was partly blocked. Game, set, match. Texas win from the Lone Star State. And what a thriller, another thriller. First Howard and UMBC, and now Texas and North Carolina State. What a move. Your final score, 68-66. North Carolina State season's over. The Texas Longhorns move on from the first 4 to the first round. Oh, but what a thriller it is. What an absolute thriller. I mean, can you imagine? And the other first 4 that was on Wednesday, Prairie View A&M versus Lehigh. Prairie View A&M have overcome Lehigh, and your final score, the Prairie View A&M 67, Lehigh 55. And now Miami, Ohio, and SMU. And the score differential, not much. Your final score, Miami, Ohio 89, SMU 79. Prairie View A&M goes to the first round in the South region. Miami, Ohio wins from the first 4 and going to head into the Midwest region. And all seeds are now in play. And so, with Howard versus Michigan Wolverines back on those Thursday games, and Howard University, home of the Bisons, not much, which they were being outclassed and outmatched by the likes of the Michigan Wolverines. The final score, 80-101. The St. Louis Billikens somehow pulled off a big upset over the Georgia Bulldogs, and it was not even close. The final score, the St. Louis Billikens 102, the Georgia Bulldogs of the Southeastern Conference 77. Yes, I know. It's shocking and it's embarrassing, but what do you expect? But that's the ball game. And now the universe and more of the games on a Thursday. The Texas Longhorns and the BYU Cougars. The Longhorns overcome the BYU Cougars of the Big 12. Texas Longhorns were part of the Big 12 and now members of the Southeastern Conference. The final score, Longhorns 79, BYU Cougars out of Provo, Utah 71. And the Texas Longhorns move on to the second round for the first time as a first four team. And this is huge, absolutely huge. And more games coming over. Kennesaw State and Gonzaga. The final score, well, the Bulldogs have overcome Kennesaw State 64-73. And more final score games. We check out between High Point and Wisconsin. High Point and Wisconsin. So this is an interesting game. It's almost like the games that are kind of too close to call, and then all of a sudden you want to know, why is it High Point in Wisconsin? Why High Point in Wisconsin? Why those two? Well, why not we find out and give it a little bit of a go, shall we? Which I'll bring you up to speed on the final minutes and the final seconds is more like it. So with about 2 minutes left in the second half, which is pretty amazing. So here we go. Here's High Point with the layup, trailing by 2, and now it's a tie game at 78 points with over 2 minutes to go. Wisconsin, there's a layup, and now they're back within 2. The Badgers up by 2, 78-80. And here comes Wisconsin having the ball back, over a minute left with the reverse layup. It's good, and they're up by 4, about a minute to go. The High Point Panthers refuse to quit. From downtown, it is good. Now it's a 1-point game with 55 seconds left. Someone is on fire from the field. A 1-point game. 20 seconds left on the game. The dribble, cutting across, hit the rim underneath. High Point trying to win it all with a layup. Up by 1, 83-82, 11.2 seconds left. Wisconsin gets the ball back from the fast break. 7 seconds. Blocked by the Panthers, and a foul call. One of the Panthers players has that block shot and says, "Get that out of here!" And the game is over. High Point University, home of the Panthers, win on an upset victory over the Wisconsin Badgers from the Big Ten Conference, 83-82. Mamma mia! What a madness point to end the game at all costs. And I'll tell you this, while I was watching that game, one of the players actually gave, he says, "I want to thank this entire team and giving thanks to my Lord and personal Savior, Jesus Christ." And he is right. Giving praise and thanks to the Lord Jesus Christ for this wonderful game, a wonderful victory. To God be the glory, because why? He is the Lord of all heaven and earth and all creation. It was an amazing game. I don't think no one is ever going to pull this off in such a way when it comes to High Point. That is one game for the history books, and I think High Point University will never be the same. I would say they have a really good basketball program. I'd be surprised if they are going to come back to the big dance next year. And now we checked on the final scores of Hawaii and Arkansas. Not much. Hawaii Rainbow Warriors 78. The Arkansas Razorbacks 97. And see, Troy and Nebraska. Not much, which is more of an embarrassment or a slaughterhouse. Troy 47, Nebraska Cornhuskers 76, and it is huge. And here comes McNeese State, home of the Cowboys, versus the Vanderbilt Commodores. Your final score, McNeese State 68, Vanderbilt 78. And here comes VCU and UNC. VCU Rams and the UNC Tar Heels. And this game ended in overtime. But what a move. VCU and UNC, that is something to behold. And like, don't tell me you're going to check out that highlight. Well, I'm not going to. Let's just say, I think you deserve something of what just happened when this game was sent into overtime in the first place. So why was that game sent into overtime in the first place? Well, you're about to find out. So they were trailing that many points, several points. And now we were going to, let's just say, why not we go to the second half, about 2 minutes left. VCU down by 4, North Carolina Tar Heels up by 4. And well, let's check this out. And then, so, up by 5 this time from a free throw shot. And there is a 2-point shot by the VCU Ram player. And here's the drip, there's the pass, but that shot was blocked. It was insane to the membrane. And somehow the score was tied. And VCU was starting to run away with the dish and the spoon. And what a move with the reverse layup. One of the best basketball players I've seen from out of VCU and make it count the most to make it happen. 77-78, within under 20 seconds to go, shot from beyond the arc, 80-78. What a move to put it up from beyond the arc. The shot clock is turned off. Tar Heels desperation mode, can't hit for 2, game over. VCU survives the overtime thriller mark. And your final score on overtime, which is literally it, VCU 82, UNC 78. And here comes Pennsylvania, University of Pennsylvania, and the Illinois, home of the Fighting Illini. Not much difference, but it's a slaughterhouse. Pennsylvania 70, Fighting Illini 105. And now Texas A&M Aggies and the St. Mary's. And the final score, all about the defense more than on offense. Texas A&M 63, St. Mary's 50. So an upset for over St. Mary's, which is never thought I'd see the day. And now the final score in Idaho, between Idaho Vandals and the Houston Cougars. Not much. The Idaho Vandals from the Big Sky Conference, 47. Houston Cougars of the Big 12 Conference, 78. And now your final score between TCU and Ohio State. And we are going to go to that one right now. Oh my goodness. TCU and Ohio State. Like, why TCU? Why TCU? Have I suffered enough just because it was too much? No. Like, what? You heard me. I said no. It is. What do you take me for? Oh dear. You know, I get the feeling that things don't match up pretty well, but we're gonna find out with TCU and Ohio State now, shall we? And so it all comes down to the final seconds. It all comes down to the seconds, mind you. And so you're wondering, I also watched this game as well, and it was interesting. So the Ohio State Buckeyes, they were pretty good at basketball. So around under 6 minutes to go, TCU 53, Ohio State 55, and there's the dunk, up by 4. Ohio State up by 4, 57 to 53. Cannot be stopped. 5 minutes, 20 seconds left. There's the pass. Looking to try to take it into the basket, gets it to go to adjust the shot and get it to fall. 1 point game later on. A block. Sorry. A block shot, reverse, or a normal layup. Still a 1 point game under 2 minutes to go. 59 to 58, Ohio State up by 1 now. TCU saying count the basket and the foul, and then one of them would say cheap shot, and you cannot stop me because we take the lead. And now it's back to a tie game at 61 points for 3. TCU Horned Frogs scored 3 points in under a minute to go. Buckeyes, 40 seconds left. 64 to 61 for 3. It's good. Back to a tie game at 64 points. In about 10 seconds left. TCU trying to look for a miracle. Waiting. Shot up close. It's good. 2 points. 4.1 seconds left on the clock. Oh my. The TCU Horned Frogs are looking for a big upset. Here comes Ohio State, the prayer, it's no good, off the glass, final score, TCU 66, Ohio State Buckeyes 64. And to end that game as all, and the Buckeye season comes to an end. The TCU Horned Frogs move on to the second round, and they will get the Duke Blue Devils, in which the Duke Blue Devils win over Cena 65 to 71. But Cena wasn't too bad. Now here is UNI versus St. John's. I'll get back to that later on. More of the Thursday scores. University of South Florida Bulls and the Louisville Cardinals. The Bulls were coming up close, but the Cardinals ran away with the dish and the spoon. The Bulls lose to the Cardinals. South Florida 79, Louisville Cardinals 83. And North Dakota State from the Division I versus Michigan State Spartans. North Dakota State was they were not even a close match to the Michigan State Spartans. 67 to 92, the Spartans win. And now we go to Friday's games from the first round. Akron and Texas Tech. And the score was not even close. 71-91. Texas Tech win over Akron. And now Hofstra, this is a new a school I've never heard of. Hofstra College or Hofstra University versus the Alabama Crimson Tide of the Southeastern Conference. The score, not even close. 70-90, the Crimson Tide win and move on to the next round. And remember Miami, Ohio, who beat SMU on the first four? Well, the score was not even close. They may have beaten the Mustangs of SMU in Dallas, Texas, but they cannot defeat the Volunteers of Tennessee out of Knoxville. And the final score was 56-78. The Volunteers win over the Miami, Ohio University Hawks completely, the Red Hawks. And now here's another game. Wright State versus the Virginia Cavaliers. And the score, the Cavaliers overpower Wright State 73-82. And now here's here's something else. Santa Clara and Kentucky. And somehow Kentucky was not able to go away. And your final score ended in overtime. 89-84. The Kentucky Wildcats win that game back on Friday last week over Santa Clara and move on to the second round. And another game, Tennessee State and Iowa State. And this game was not even close. Tennessee State 74, Iowa State Cyclones of the Big 12 108. And here's more of the Friday's games. Queens, North Carolina. It's a college of a university versus the Purdue Boilermakers. The score, not much. The final score, Queens, North Carolina 71, Purdue 104. The Missouri Tigers and the Miami, Florida Hurricanes. Not Miami, Ohio, Miami, Florida Hurricanes. And the final score, not much you'd see. The Missouri Tigers of the Southeastern Conference 66, the Miami, Florida of the Atlantic Coast Conference 80. And next game, LIU versus Arizona, home of the Wildcats of the Big 12 Conference. So, not much to see. LIU 58, Arizona 92. And now here's another one, an upset win. Utah State out of the Mountain West Conference over Villanova Wildcats. Utah State Aggies 86, Villanova Wildcats 76. Upset win for the Mountain West Conference team moving on to the second round. Prairie View and Florida. And this game, not even close. It was an absolute embarrassment, and it should have put in their substitute players because I don't know why. And you thought that game was bad? Check out the college women's basketball. One team scored from the college women's basketball scored over 100 points over a university that scored around 30, and it was embarrassing. It should never been. I don't know why. It was the most embarrassing effort I have ever seen in a basketball game that nobody was able to comprehend. Like, what? I know. It was diabolical. It was so diabolical. Prairie View 55, Florida 114. Yes, it was. It was was a slaughterhouse. Wow, it was a slaughter for Prairie again. If you're the Florida Gators, Prairie View has just got one of the most embarrassing games I've ever seen. They may have defeated Lehigh as a number 16. It seemed to earn the right as a number 16 seeded team, but cannot overcome the Florida Gators as a number 16 seeded team. And it's 55 to 114. You got 67 over Lehigh's 55 points, but cannot overcome doubling the amount of points that Florida has doubled the points over Prairie View. 55 to 114. I don't know about you guys or anyone else who is watching this live stream, but for that, I just don't know I don't know what to say. Moving on. So, Iowa and Clemson. Iowa Hawkeyes of the Big Ten Conference versus the Clemson Tigers of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Your final score: Iowa Hawkeyes 67, Clemson Tigers 61. Iowa upset over the Clemson Tigers and move on to the second round. Oh my goodness. So, okay, here's more. UNI and St. John's. St. John's winning over UNI, and the score was not even close. 53 to 79. And now another game, California Baptist University versus the Kansas Jayhawks of the Big 12 the Big 12 Conference out of Lawrence, Kansas. Final score: California Baptist 60, Kansas Jayhawks 68. And now 2 more games left on Friday. UCF, University Central Florida Knights versus the UCLA Bruins of the Big Ten. Your final score, it was close. UFC was starting to close in on the UCLA Bruins, but they came up a bridge too far to come up short. UFC 71, UCLA 75. The Bruins move on to the second round. And now, check out this one. Furman looking to upset the UConn Huskies, but couldn't overcome the UConn Huskies. The final score: Furman 71, UConn Huskies 82. And the UConn Huskies, University of Connecticut, moves on to the second round, into the round of 32. The first round is a round of 64, a total of 32 games in total. 32 games in total. The first 4, you have a total of 4 games. The first round of 32. A second round, you have a total of 16 games. As the madness continues. So we begin of Saturday's games of the second round of 32. And all the networks of TBS, TNT, CBS, and True TV. The St. Louis Billikens think they have this in the bag, but it was too much. But the Michigan Wolverines overcome, and the Billikens could not overcome it. Your final score: the St. Louis Billikens 72, Michigan Wolverines 95. And they are going back to the Sweet 16. And Texas Tech Red Raiders of the Big 12 Conference out of Lubbock, Texas, versus the Alabama Crimson Tide. That's worth the taking. But somehow they may have overcome Akron, but cannot overcome Alabama. The final score, Texas Tech Red Raiders 65, the Alabama Crimson Tide 90, and the Crimson Tide are going back to the Sweet 16. And now we get a load of the Virginia Cavaliers and the Tennessee Volunteers. Cavaliers, Volunteers. I don't have any Bushiers or the Rocketeers. Sorry, that was a terrible joke. But I'm good with rhyming poem. So, the Cavaliers tried to catch up against the Tennessee Volunteers out of Knoxville, but the Cavaliers of Virginia just can't overcome the Volunteers from the Volunteer State out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Your final score for an upset win, Tennessee Volunteers 79, Virginia Cavaliers 72. The Volunteers are going to the Sweet 16. Well, okay, why not I do all games? So whatever. So here comes the guns. So get a load of this. On March 21st, Texas Longhorns and the Gonzaga Bulldogs. The Bulldogs overcame Kennesaw State for their 73 points over 64. But the Bulldogs, it seems that the Longhorns had run the Bulldogs over the Gonzaga Bulldogs. And the final score was Texas Longhorns of the or not the Big 12, used to be, now a Southeastern Conference team, 74. Gonzaga Bulldogs out of the West Coast Conference for the last and final time before joining the Pac-12 Conference, 68. The Texas Longhorns, from the first four to the first round to the second round, have jumped into the Sweet 16. And now here comes the Miami, Florida Hurricanes and the Purdue Boilermakers. The Boilermakers have proved themselves over the Miami Hurricanes in a double-digit lead. The final score, the Miami, Florida Hurricanes of the Atlantic Coast Conference 69, the Purdue Boilermakers from the Big Ten Conference 79. The Boilermakers are going back to the Sweet 16. And now High Point University, home of the Panthers versus the Arkansas Razorbacks of the Southeastern Conference. High Point was coming this close. They were in the lead, and somehow they've fallen off the driver's wheel by being asleep, and somehow the Razorbacks took advantage of it. And High Point tried to overcome this huge margin deficit. They came close, but just came up short. But what a season for High Point University, home of the Panthers. Your final score, High Point University Panthers 88, the Arkansas Razorbacks 94. The Razorbacks are going to the Sweet 16. But what a great way for the High Point Panthers. They deserve to be in the big dance, and there's no doubt in my mind they'll be back for the big dance next year. You believe you and me. I'd be surprised if they are going to be back to the big dance next year. Here comes Utah State and the Arizona Wildcats. So the Aggies of Utah State of the Mountain West Conference defeated the Villanova Wildcats. Putting up 86 points over Villanova Wildcats, 76 points, but cannot overcome another Wildcat team, and that is the Arizona Wildcats out of Tucson, Arizona, of the Big 12 Conference. And so, guess what happens? The Aggies may have overcome their first Wildcat team, but cannot overcome the second Wildcat team. And that will be the last time for the Utah State Aggies as members of the Mountain West Conference, and will be joining the Pac-12 for BSU along with San Diego State, perhaps, and some other schools that will be joining. Final score 66, Arizona 78. But give credit to Utah State. They put everything on the line. And the Arizona Wildcats are going to the Sweet 16. And now here's an interesting game. Iowa and Florida. This game was too close to call. This game was so close. I watched the whole thing. It was too close to call. It was huge. It was madness. It was off the rocker, and it is just maddening. Absolutely maddening. Sorry, I sneezed. Oh. This was a too close to call. This was too close to call. Oh my gosh. It was under 10 minutes. It was at 9.5 minutes to go. Iowa Hawkeyes up by 4. The score was 55-51. Iowa's number 9, Florida's number 1, and here we go. Pump fake, shoots to get inside, can't get it to drop along with the putback. It's good to go, up by 6. The Florida Gators refuse to quit, and here comes the Gator chop with the finishing layup. What a move to go around and back to a 4-point game. 8.5 minutes to go. There's the block shot and says, get that shot out of here. There's the 3-point play. 3 points up on the board. 57-56. Under 8 minutes to go. Florida's not going to go away. The dribble, the pass. The pass lies on the pocket. Dunks it with both hands on a tomahawk. And now the Gators are back in the lead by 2. Iowa shoots for 3. And they are back in the lead. Up by 1. Florida will not go away with around 6.5 minutes to go for 3. Good for 3. Florida's back in the lead again. Now it's 66-69. Iowa Hawkeyes dribbling the pocket pass. Dunks it with both hands, trailing by 1. 1-point game. Florida. Here's the pick and roll screen. Cutting through the defense like butter with a good finger roll for 2. Up by 3. Iowa with the floater teardrop back within 1 under a minute to go. And here we go. The shot for 3 for Iowa. Shooting for 3. It's good. Up within 1. Oh my gosh. Mamma mia. And as time expired, the Florida Gators trying to come back to get a 2-point, to score for 2 points, but somehow defense worked over the Iowa Hawkeyes and our national champions, the Florida Gators, losing to the Iowa Hawkeyes, and there will not be a back-to-back champion. There's going to be a brand new national champion, and it will not be the Florida Gators of the Southeastern Conference. Final score, Iowa Hawkeyes 73, Florida Gators 72. Winning by 1. And the Iowa Hawkeyes are going to the Sweet 16. Florida Gators season comes to an end. Oh, wow. And now here comes the Vanderbilt Commodores of the Southeastern Conference and Nebraska Cornhuskers of the Big Ten Conference. And also, this game was absolutely interesting. It was absolutely interesting. Nebraska and Vanderbilt. Nebraska was never known to have a great basketball team, and they've never been to the Sweet 16 before, never even once. When was the last time they've been into the Sweet 16? Never. Never. I mean, never. They've never been to the Sweet 16 even once. They may have gone to the first round, they may have gone to the second round, but never in their life or have they won a basketball game. And somehow, do you believe in miracles? Vanderbilt up by 4, and it was like over 7 minutes, 16 seconds left. The catch, 3-point play. It's good. 1-point game for the Cornhuskers. 61-60. Under 7 minutes to go. The Vanderbilt Commodores try to shoot a 3. It's good. And back within 4. 64-60, 6.5 minutes to go. The Cornhuskers are still on the game. Finger rolls for 2 on the layup. 2-point game. Commodores looking to answer back for 3, and it's good. On fire. I'm back. And now it's a 5-point game. 67-62. Over 5 minutes left in the game. Here comes the Cornhuskers. Good from the paint. And now it's a 3-point game with approximately 5 minutes, and we go time travel. There's around 2 minutes left to go. 67-66. Commodores up by 1. Here comes the Cornhuskers. Gets the layup off the glass. Back, and now they're in the lead within 1-point game. Commodores going to shoot for 3. They shot the 3, and now a 2-point game. 70-68. Nebraska refused to quit. And this game, these two teams kind of have bad blood for each other, besides Iowa and Florida. This was never going to go away. About a minute left. The layup puts it in just in time to get the shot and make the basket. 72-70, 40 seconds left. Cornhuskers can finger roll for 2 with the putback, gets it to go. Tie at 72. Hawkeyes looking to try to answer. Shot up, well, no good. And then 9 seconds, last chance for the Cornhuskers. Trying to dribble and finger rolls for 2. 2 seconds left. And Vanderbilt Commodores call a timeout. Oh, wow. 2.2 seconds left. The prayer off the glass can't get it to draw iron. Game, set, match. Oh, my goodness. Mamma mia. One of the main players shooting the prayer from half court. It tries to rattle it home, but it rattles out. It could not hit inside the basket. And the basketball did not go inside the basketball hoop. Your final score, Vanderbilt 72, Nebraska 74. For the first time in history, the Cornhuskers are going to the Sweet 16 for the very first time. Congratulations, Cornhuskers of Lincoln, Nebraska. I've been to Lincoln, Nebraska before, but wow, what a game. What a game. The Commodores put up a big fight. It was a true dogfight between Vanderbilt and Nebraska. But wow, what a match. Main event worthy right there. Main event worthy. The same thing for the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Florida Gators. Main event worthy, hands down. 2 of the best games I've ever seen during the second round. That is absolutely insane. But give credit to the Commodores out of Nashville, Tennessee, that they play their hearts out. And Nebraska, the Vanderbilt Commodores wanted to go to the Sweet 16 for a really long time. Oh my gosh. The last time they've been to the Sweet 16 was almost 2 decades or more. But Nebraska never been to the Sweet 16 even once. They're not to have a basketball program that's going to go all the way, but somehow, do you believe in miracles? There is going to be one more miracle that I'll be saving for last, and you'll get to see. So, VCU and the Fighting Illini. The score was not even close. VCU 55, the Fighting Illini of the Big Ten Conference team 76. And now Texas A&M and Houston. It was the Battle of Texas. The team that wins this game has earned the right to go back to Houston. And somehow Houston say, we got this in the bag. We want to take this game back to home plate, home court advantage. And guess what? They got the home court advantage over the Texas A&M Aggies that were approximately 90 miles apart. Texas A&M Aggies 57, Houston Cougars 88. In here, and another game, TCU and the Duke Blue Devils. TCU may have defeated Cena, but not the Duke Blue Devils out of North Carolina. Final score, TCU 58, Duke Blue Devils 81. And now here are the Louisville Cardinals and the Michigan State Spartans. This is interesting. Louisville Cardinals overcame the University of South Florida Bulls, but cannot overcome the Michigan State Spartans. The final score, Louisville Cardinals 69, Michigan State Spartans 77. And now here comes UCLA and UConn. UCLA may have defeated the UCF Golden Knights, but cannot overcome the UConn Huskies. The final score, UCLA Bruins 57, UConn Huskies 73. And that was insane. That was insane. And now we go to the, I'm saving the best for last, St. John's and Kansas. And I'll do the whole highlight of the whole kit and caboodle. Oh my. So here we go on the tip-off as I remember. So the St. John's Red Storm gets the ball. No score yet on the first minute until St. John's Red Storm scores a 3-point shot, 3-0 lead over the Kansas Jayhawks. The Kansas Hawks, Blue Jays, Kansas Blue Jays, or Jayhawks. I was right the first time. Second time I got it wrong. I don't know. I got it right the first time. That game was in San Diego, California. And now the Jayhawks are in the lead. 3-6 game with 17 and a half minutes to go. For 3 points for the Red Storm, it is good from downtown. A tie game at 6 points. 17 minutes left in the first half. Sets up in the middle for 3 points. It's good, and in St. John's, the Red Storm is back within 3, 9-6. Red Storm, that shot was partly blocked. Here comes the Jayhawks. Even though they trail, they're going to commit to make some magic. But a steal by the Red Storm and a beautiful layup. What a move. Wow, 11-6. the head coach for the Jayhawks, called a timeout, and he did not like what he absolutely see, and it was disheartening. Can't hit for three from downtown, but hits a second try for a second three and gets it to go. 14-6. Jayhawks can't put in the putback, but a foul. Jayhawks are 0 for 6, completely ever scoring several points, while the Red Storm of St. John's are on fire from the field. Here comes the Jayhawks on the fast break with over 10 minutes with a tomahawk to put it down for one hand. 2 seconds left on the shot clock. It is good. And the Jayhawks trail by 2, 16-14 game with over 7 minutes to go. Good shot from the foul line. Tie game at 16 points. A 3-point play from the Red Storm. Hits the top of the rim and gets it to go. And what was someone thinking from fouling someone from beyond the arc out there? The hook shot is good, a 5-point game. St. John's up by 5. The Red Storm over the Jayhawks. Under 3 minutes to go. Here comes the Jayhawks dribbling, going coast to coast, and it is good for a finger roll layup for 2. 1-point game. The Red Storm on the move. The pass. Open for 3. It is good for 3. And now a 4-point game. Points off turnovers. Wow. Here comes the Red Storm. About a minute 20 left. And that is good for another in downtown. And it's now a 7-point game. 31-24. Minute 10 left in the first half. The drive goes for 2. And now it's a 5-point game. No, and now it's an 8-point game. Updated score, 8.5 seconds left in the first half. Unbelievable. And now we start in the second half. Here comes the Red Storm of St. John's. The pass, the shot, it is good for 3. 37-28. 9-point game. The Jayhawks won't go away. There's a finger roll for 2, and what a move. The pass can't hit from the baseline for 3 points. And the Red Storm are on the move from coast to coast. A reverse layup is good. 39-32. What a move. With 15.5 minutes left. 39-32, Jayhawks on a 3-point try, and it is good. Trailing by 4. What a play right there. Here comes the Red Storm, leaving someone wide open, and there's the drive, and finger rolls for 2 on the layup. 41-35. The Red Storm again, someone on the field on fire from downtown. It is good. And it's a 3-point shot, 44-35, back to a 9-point game. With over 14 minutes left, the putback is good on a little bit of an alley-oop, 44-37. 7-point game. The shot for 3, it is good. And now it's a double-digit lead in St. John's. For 10-point margin, double-digit lead right there. 48-38, St. John's Red Storm looking to score more points. Blocked from behind by a Jayhawk. He says, "You're not going to try to shoot that in my house." Here comes the Red Hawks, and the Red Hawk says, "Anything you can do from a blocked shot, I'll do better. That's not being blocked." Here comes the Red Storm. Wow, what a move with a floating tier. St. John's up by 14. The Kansas Jayhawks looking in trouble, and they know they're in trouble, so they try to do what they do best. Put up more points to do better than their best. 12-point game. The Jayhawks on the move. And there's the three-point try. It is good. Now trailing by 11. Here comes the Red Storm. The hook shot is good for the Red Storm. A 58-45, 13-point game. Nice fake there. There's the three-point shot. It is good. 10-point lead, still in the double-digit trailing margin. The pass for three, and it is blocked partly. Jayhawks on the move, and now it's a single-digit lead. 8-point game on the move, and what a move to count the basket and the foul. And he said, cheap shot, and you still can't stop me. Wow. They'll have to put up the ball, and there was a 2-point play. 7-point game, trailing by 7 for the Jayhawks. St. John's on the move. Here we go, and the block shot, but I don't know if that was a foul or not. Oh my gosh. 9-point game, and the finger roll for 2. There you go. 62-55. On the move. Tried to go from the left of the circle. Reverse layup is good. 62-57 with under 3 minutes to go. The pass, three-point shot is no good. Put back is good. And now it's a 3-point game. For firing for 3, can't hit the 3, but the putback is good. And now it's a 1-point game. Under 2 minutes to go. Wow. St. John's on the move. The Red Storm firing for 3. Good from the downtown, on fire. Way to be open for the Red Storm. Here comes the Jayhawks of Kansas out of Lawrence. The shot is no good. Saving the ball from going out of bounds and gets the shot up close, and it's good. It's a tie game, 65-65. The final seconds, puts it in. St. John's Red Storm upset the Kansas Jayhawks with time expired by 2 points for the first time. One player has not scored any points in the entire game, and the very first 2 points of the very first game. 1 for 5. 1 for 5. And to end the final seconds in a dramatic finish. Mamma mia, wow. Insane to the membrane, and you cannot call it close. That was like down in the wire. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? St. John's Red Storm upset the Kansas Jayhawks within the final seconds. And that was insane. A tie game at 65. 3.9 seconds left. Oh, wow. Cannot stop. And Kansas Jayhawks took their eye off the ball and try to put everything or nothing. The St. John's Red Storm just come in an upset victory of a top-seeded team, the Kansas Jayhawks, and the Kansas Jayhawks out of Lawrence, Kansas. Their season is officially over. Your final score, St. John's Red Storm 67, Kansas Jayhawks 65. The St. John's Red Storm are going to the Sweet 16, and it is oh, too sweet. Wow. What a game. What a game. What a game. Wow. What a game that was. It was just maddening. It was madness. It was off the rocker. I mean, there was no way, absolutely no way that can anyone pull this off, but it happened. A miracle. One player has not scored any points at all for the entire game. He was 0 for 4. 0 for 4. No points. Nothing. Zilch. Nada. Scored nothing. No points for the entire game for St. John's. Until all of a sudden, he had the courage to take the drive into the basket in 3.9 seconds left. Finger rolls for 2. First 2 points. The last player who hasn't scored any points is the winner to win it all. Not just for him, but for his entire team and all. Wow, and that is going to be a thriller. I would say definitely should be in SportsCenter's top 10. Unbelievable. Wow, that is just absolutely amazing. So right now, March Madness continues on college women's basketball for the second round of 32. And we start the madness all over again for 5 days straight. The Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. In the men's, and now these teams are ready and set for battle, beginning for the Sweet 16. You heard me, for the Sweet 16. Alabama, number 4 Alabama versus number 1 Michigan. Number 6 Tennessee versus number 2 Iowa State. Number 11 Texas versus number 2 Purdue. Number 4 Arkansas versus number 1 Arizona. Number 9, Iowa versus number 4, Nebraska. Number 3, Illinois versus number 2, Houston. And that game will be in Houston, Texas for home field advantage. Iowa, Nebraska will do the same. And number 5, St. John's Red Storm versus the Duke Blue Devils, number 1 seed team. And number 3, Michigan State versus number 2, UConn Huskies, University of Connecticut. 16 teams in the Sweet 16. 8 games in total. The Elite 8, 4 games in total. Same thing for college women's basketball. It is wild. It was so wild. I mean, you cannot stop it. You cannot. It was madness. It was absolute madness. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine, like, that difficulty, that difficulty, and it is just, that is insane. That is unbelievably insane, to be honest, and it was just, oh my. Oh, I don't know what to say, but that was insane. That was absolutely insane. I'll give you that. Oh, can you imagine? I mean, my gosh, Minnesota and Ole Miss were battling back-to-back on the final seconds. Minnesota Gophers winning over the Ole Miss Rebels in the final seconds, and it was just absolutely close. The final score for the college women's basketball: Ole Miss 63, Minnesota 65. But give credit to Ole Miss. They played their hearts out. They really, truly played their hearts out. And don't mind and no, nothing is ever going to be taken away by the likes of that. Nothing. I don't think nobody, no one's going to take that away. No one is ever going to take that ever away from them. I mean, you got a really good basketball team, and it's just absolutely amazing. High Point University's basketball team from the women's division, not much. But Vanderbilt destroyed High Points, 102-61. Okay, remember when I mentioned about, do you remember when I said about the games from what if that is coming down to this? If for those who remember, as you recall, well, Jacksonville State and LSU, those games, they're one of them. They're absolutely one of them. It's, yeah. Yeah, man. How does that work out for me? I don't know. Can you tell me? Oh, yeah. So let's start with Southern University versus South Carolina. The final score, Southern University may have won their first four, but cannot win the first round. 34-103. Yes, it was a slaughter. And South Carolina, I mean, they're too dominant. And Southern University was just absolutely embarrassed. Absolutely embarrassed. They only scored 34 points of the entire game. 34. 34. You heard me. 34. 34 freaking points. They may have scored 65 points over Samford to earn the right as a number 16 seeded team. Yes, I'll give you that. But when it comes to against South Carolina, it was embarrassing. It was just not what you had expected. The South Carolina has 103 points on Saturday. That was back on Saturday, March 21st, 2026. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. Even my dad was absolutely beyond in disbelief. I was beyond in disbelief. I mean, no team would ever be embarrassed by facing the South Carolina Gamecocks. And if you're Southern University of your team and you got embarrassed by the likes of South Carolina that scored 103 points, you are wondering what is going on? What did we just witness? What kind of game is this? It's like, are we in the right team? Are we playing against the team that we cannot lose all of a sudden? And the same thing goes for High Point, which they lost to Vanderbilt 61-102. And it's also another embarrassing game, which I've never seen anything like it. It It was just absolutely the most unbelievable awestruck I've ever seen. The same thing goes for Jacksonville losing to LSU. 58 to 116. 58 to 116. It's like you're saying, how I don't know how I feel about this, that a team would absolutely be the most dominant to ever go witness of not being frowned upon, that a team absolutely will kill you, that will outclass you, outmatch you in any way, because you cannot overcome the big differential when it comes to college women's basketball, that a team that is a lot bigger and tougher and smarter and outclass and outmatching you than the team that you're with that's a smaller school. And for that, I just like, I don't know how I feel about this. This is not what I had in mind. This is not what I had in mind. No. It's just embarrassing. It was just embarrassing. I just can't believe this. 3 teams that score over 100 points or more. Look at what happened. The same thing for Texas and Oregon. The Texas Longhorns 100, Oregon 58. And it was like, I mean, the Ducks of Oregon for college women's basketball pretty outshined the Virginia Tech Hokies, but could not overcome the Longhorns of Texas out of Austin, Texans, of the state capital. In the Texas tropics, of course. They just couldn't overcome it. It was a slaughter. Wow, South Carolina dominated over Southern by an embarrassment margin. Texas over the huge landslide over Oregon. I could go on forever if I do, but I won't. LSU dominating over Jacksonville for 116 to 58. Vanderbilt dominating over High Point 102 to 61. There was no contest. It was like a big fat no contest, and all of a sudden you're winning by this much. You're winning by this much because the better team is the better champs. It's like, okay, then I get what you mean. If that's how it is, then I feel like I'd rather not lose to the likes of of what happened next. So we're gonna have a couple of games of a doubleheader in Chicago. And it was just absolutely amazing. So let's see, Alabama, Michigan, Tennessee, and Iowa State will be in Chicago. Let's see, Texas and Purdue. Their games will be heading back to the West Coast in San Jose, California, along with Arizona and Arkansas. Iowa, Nebraska, and Illinois and Houston will have their game in Houston, Texas, while St. John and Duke will have their game along with Michigan State and UConn at the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. That would be home of the Washington, D.C. Capitals of the National Hockey League, along with the Washington, D.C. Wizards. So, yeah, 4 brand new locations. In the nation's capital, in Chi-Town, Chicago, short for Chi-Town, Chicago, San Jose, California, the SAP Center, if I'm correct, or I could be wrong, because most likely it's gotta be, home of the San Jose Sharks. So we're going to, Chicago, San Jose, Houston, and Washington, D.C. Well, we're going coast to coast, I'll give you that. So 16 teams are going, 16 teams. So there'll be a total of 12 games in total. So first and second round, 32 games, 16 games, and a +4. You got a total of 52 games for the entire week on the men's division of college men's basketball. And then in the second week of March Madness, we start off with the Sweet 16 to the Elite 8. A total of 12 games. A doubleheader. Those games will be shown on CBS and TBS. Only on, CBS and TBS. Because you got a doubleheader prime time on CBS and TBS. Doubleheader prime time. Both Friday and Thursday. Friday and Thursday. And Saturday will be just a doubleheader. Just a doubleheader. 2-game doubleheader. And then the same thing go for a Sunday as well. A Sunday as well for another doubleheader. Sweet 16 to the Elite 8, and both games, and they'll have both doubleheaders each on TBS and CBS. And the national championship will be on the final week of March Madness. 3 games, just 3. A doubleheader on a Saturday for the Final 4, and then the national championship on Monday. Because who's going to win it all when it comes to the national championship? Who is the number 1 team in the country? And all top 25 teams will be in the top 25. It will not be revealed until all games are finished and who will be in the top 25 and who is not. Oh boy, yeah. So the teams from the Sweet 16 move on to the Elite 8 and we'll get a 2-day break. And for those teams who win in the Elite 8, we'll go to the Final 4. And I would say we'll get somewhere around almost a week's rest, which is worth it. A week's rest, which is worth it on the road to Indianapolis. March Madness continues on the second week from the Sweet 16 to the Elite 8 on both college men and women's basketball. And that is basically it. So when you give the glory and honor to God when it comes to basketball, you can bet that God is always watching and he's always looking and seeing and like this, because basketball is a tool to honor God, to truly honor God in your heart with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your strength, every fiber being in you. And you know what? There will never be games that will try to imitate but cannot duplicate. And it's just incredibly amazing. And the summer games are absolutely too close to call. I would say some of the most climatic finishes, as well as a big upset win. And Florida was going to go to the Sweet 16, but it was not meant to be. And since the Iowa Hawkeyes win over the Florida Gators, the Florida Gators will not be repeated as national champions. There will be a brand new national champion out of the Sweet 16 to the Elite Eight, to the Final Four, to the top two for the national championship, and it's not the Florida Gators this time. It'll be another team that wants to take its place to be the brand new national champions. So once again, the madness continues on week 2. Both college men and women's basketball, they're finishing up the second round of 32 on the networks of ESPN and ABC for college women's basketball for NCAA March Madness. And then we start the whole thing all over again. It begins Thursday all the way to Monday, both men and women's college basketball. For 5 days. Our doubleheaders will begin. Our doubleheaders will begin again. On Thursday, Texas and Purdue, Arkansas and Arizona, along with Iowa and Nebraska and Illinois and Houston, on those games on CBS and TBS, along with Friday's games, Alabama and Michigan, Tennessee and Iowa State, St. John's and Duke, Michigan State and UConn, University of Connecticut. Both games on CBS and TBS on prime times. Then you've got the Elite Eight. Both games, 2 games each, on a doubleheader on Saturday and a doubleheader on Sunday. And who will be going to the Final Four? We cut the teams in half. Total of 64, first 4 on the bubble. Who earns the spot as the number 11 seed or the number 16 seed? And also to cut the teams in half, a total of 64 to 32, a total of 32 to 16, cut it in half. From 16 to 8, cut that in half. From 8 to 4, cut that in half. From 4 to 2, and then only one team to win it all, to win the national championship. It's not easy, but the journey is long. One team is going to walk away for the national championship. You win, you move on. You lose, you're done for the season. There are no second chances. Only a lot at stake is in here. So a total of 16 teams gathering themselves around to go for another week of madness, to go all the way when it comes to fighting for tooth and nail. We're getting close. Well, yeah, I'll be putting up episodes of Shantae and the Seven Sirens this week. So forgive me if I was not putting up any episodes from last week because of NCAA March Madness. But I'll tell you this, it was interesting. There's only a total of 12 games. 12 games in total for the men. Because you got the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. 3 games on the final week. So 52 games, 67 games in total. 67 games. 67 games. That's a lot, isn't it? 67 games. The same thing for the women's division, 67 games. Combined, how many games in total for both men and women's college basketball? 120, add 7, 127, 134. 134 games in total of March Madness. 134 games in total in March Madness. Men and women, both men and women, 134 games in overall. That's huge. Trust me, I did the math. I did the math. 134 games in total. That is a long list. But, you know, I do have an announcement. There will be a lot. I know there's going to be a live stream on my take on week 2 for NCAA March Madness week 1 live stream. There will be a week 2 live stream. Of course, there will be a live stream of Special Olympics Utah of the state championships. And that is going to be on a Saturday. There will be a live stream this Saturday on March 28th. March 28th. Saturday, March 28th. And I have to get up really early in the morning to get to the opening ceremonies, or else I'm not going to make it. If I don't get to the opening ceremonies, I cannot play for the state championships. Because all that training for nothing. And also, if I can't play for the state championships, I cannot do a live stream if this happens. So, if I can't make it to the opening ceremonies, the live stream is canceled. But if I do make it to the opening ceremonies, then the live stream is not canceled. I repeat, not canceled. So there you go. And hello, Kevin. What's up? What's up? How you doing? It's been a while. No, I'm still on. So, yeah. How you doing? I don't know if you were watching NCAA March Madness, but how are you? Just take your time by typing. And, yeah, like I said, I got a the state basketball tournament for Special Olympics Utah. And after that, I'm going to be on break for mostly, because I think I'm going to limit myself to 3 sports, is what my parents told me. Wouldn't want to wear myself out, though. Of course, I'm good, dude, in watching March. Ooh, so you have been watching March Madness. Very nice. Some of the games are absolutely pretty good. I mean, and yeah, like I said, I'll be doing I'm gonna go to the state championships, which is this Saturday on March 28th of Special Olympics Utah, and I'm just excited. I wasn't posting any videos of last week. Who you got to win the March Madness? Who do I got to win the March Madness? Who do I got to win the March Madness? Oh my gosh. Let's see. There's like I would say about a few to a couple of schools that I've been paying attention since you brought up that question, which is a great question to, of course. The ones I would love to see, let's see. I'm going to say, I would say Texas, but it's not going to be an easy job to go against the Purdue Boilermakers. And the other one is St. John's Red Storm. St. John's Red Storm. And their task is they'll be facing the Duke Blue Devils from North Carolina. And that is not an easy team to beat. Only 16 teams, a total of 12 games in total. Total of 12. Texas, for the first time, has made it into the first 4, has earned the right as a number 11 seeded team, and made it to the first round and made it into the second round, and it was impressive. St. John's, a team that surprises everybody as a high-seeded team, and a miracle just happened with like 3.9 seconds left on the game when the shot clock is turned off. The shot clock was off, 3.9 seconds left. One player for the Red Storm of St. John's has not scored the entire game. Not once. Has not scored even once. 0 for 4. 0 for 4. Until the final seconds, he finger rolls for 2, gets his very 2 first points of the game. The team player who has not scored at all is the team player who led his team to victory. Because usually the smallest surprise can become the big surprise. The biggest surprises come in the smallest packages. And there you have it. Big surprise in the smallest package, and that is St. John's. I'd be surprised if Texas and St. John's would meet each other at the Final Four. But they got a long task ahead. If they're going to go to the Final Four, they'll have to be at the Sweet 16 first and straight into the Elite 8 second. The task ahead of them is not going to be easy because the second week begins on Thursday and the madness will continue. And my games will be on Saturday because as much as I want to watch March Madness on a Saturday, which I can't, but I'd be surprised if it's on the evening, which I would love to watch it. Then I get to watch the whole thing, and like every year, or in a way, I mean, once the games are over, me and my family will celebrate to eat some frozen yogurt ice cream. So you want Nebraska to win all because they have not been in March Madness? You know, I'm surprised. I mentioned about a few schools. Oh my goodness. You know what? Say if I'd be surprised if Iowa versus Nebraska. I mean, Nebraska, they've never been to the Sweet 16 before, and this is their very first time in history. Not once they have been to the Sweet 16. Not once. I've been to their school before. I've been to their university. Their campus is huge. It's huge. It's humongous. It's absolutely big. Oh my gosh. I've been to Sam Houston State. I've been to the University of Utah campus. I've been to the campus of Utah Tech. Oh my goodness. I've been to the University of Washington in Seattle, the University of Oregon, University of Idaho, Boise State University. I was also in the campus of UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Yeah, like I'm starting to be like a U.S. Globetrotter type of guy. Yeah, it's awesome. If people only knew me very well, which they haven't. Oh my, all I can say, it's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing, and it's absolutely insane. So Nebraska, if they want to go to the Final Four, they need to defeat Iowa plus Illinois or Houston, because Houston is not an easy team to defeat. Houston is not that easy. It's not that easy. How's life been going? It's going great, to be honest. Thanks for asking. And hey, Kevin, I noticed you left a group on Discord because I don't know why. It's not like back in Discord is getting kind of boring. I mean, I'm still here, including on Discord. And I've been enjoying my time here in Southwest Utah. I'm enjoying in the tropics, in the Southwest tropics of Utah, and there are tropical palm trees, and I love it. I absolutely like it here. I really do. Yeah, it gets hot in the spring and the summertime. Of course, I felt the differential of heat with the humidity, or the dry heat, as like anyone like to call it, because I can tell from around my senses. So yeah, there will be a live stream of Special Olympics Utah for the state championships of basketball. Yeah, you take care, Kevin. It's good to talk to you. And also, once again, I'll be putting up some videos. There will be brand new future LPs coming soon in the near future. I'm right now, WWE 2K25 is still on hiatus because I need to create all the customized characters that I should not lose ever since. But no, it's lost, and I should have known better. But at least I'm getting them back by custom creating them all over again. Ugh. Never again will I become stupid. I don't know. I mean, I have all the data, but the customized characters plus the custom-made title belts, they were like gone in an instant. And I was like devastated and heartbroken. And so 2K26 will be my last game and swan song because I don't think I don't think I'm not gonna try to do this like every year. It's like the only thing I got interested is watching WWE, and now since it's mostly on USA Network and on Raw, now on CW, things have changed. But anyways, yeah, once I have all custom-made characters are ready to go, I'll be set to start off as a late WrestleMania from the spring to the summertime. And not to mention starting off a new Let's Play of WWE 2K26. Plus a new Let's Play from the My Rise storyline of 2K25, along with 2K26 as well. But like I said, 2K26 will be my swan song. I'm not getting 2K27, so no, I'm not getting it. I just want to say that's it. That's the end. That'll be the end of it, and I'm done. Because I want to catch up on the games that I haven't done yet. Well, at least I am catching up. But anyways, what do you guys think of my take on NCAA March Madness? Mash that like button and or share this video. And as your main owner and founder of this entire channel, who likes to take chances making mistakes and getting messy, who likes peanut butter and chocolate and or breakfast for dinner, who likes to yeet in the chat, yeet in the commentary, yeet on a video premiere, yeet on a live stream day and night, in and out, you name it, you got it, for I am main event Leo Wolverine as a 00 agent. Godspeed, play safe, and shalom. Remember to fight with honor, love, truth, and justice. And I'll see you guys on the episodes of Shantae and the Seven Sirens, as there's only like 3 episodes left. And the final episode will be the finale. But there will be hidden clues of future Let's Plays of what it said and it meant to be. So you can bet on that. So anyways, but also don't forget there will be a live stream this Saturday for Special Olympics Utah, and that's going to be happening. That will be happening this Saturday, March 28th. And also there will be a post-game show, a live stream post-game show, a live stream post-show after my events of Special Olympics Utah for the state tournament up in northern Utah. So there you go. When I celebrate that after I finish frozen yogurt ice cream or something like that. Or then someplace to eat. So yeah, until then, yeet! Woo! Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day and or evening. And may our Lord and our personal Savior, Jesus Christ, be with you always, for he is the way, the truth, and the life, that no man comes unto the Father but through him. And put on the full armor of God, the waist belt of truth, breastplate of righteousness, the shoes of peace, the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, the full armor sequence complete. All you need is the sword of the Spirit, and that is God's word. So once again, friendship is magic for everyone, for I like peanut butter and chocolate and a breakfast for dinner. Yeet! Woo! See ya!